I mean by that is, I can't remember if you were unemployed, employed, how long you were thinking about it. Can you remind me a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, I had been working as vice president of a public relations agency here in Tampa, and then COVID-19 came along and pretty much imploded the agency. And so I told everybody that I was COVID retired for a few months.
Yeah.
Because there just wasn't, a lot going on, of course, at the end of 2020 in the job market, at least not in Tampa and the communications. And then I started working on my own and started, finding some clients and doing some client work and, just taking those kinds of roles. I think I got a few emails from you. You found me, I think, through LinkedIn. And so I looked into the program and I realized that it was a great next step for me, to get back on the beam with things opening back up in the economy and things going again.
What prompted you to say, I may need some help with my next career move? Had you been doing it on your own, like applying for jobs, or were you just not sure where to start?
I had applied for a few jobs, but I realized that the odds were so heavily stacked against me because I wanted to come in at a high level. If I wanted to have a good job as a social media manager or something, and I was 28 years old, it'd probably be a lot easier. But at my age and seniority level, I knew I needed the help to make sure I got the right kind of job, the right fit, the right place.
This is an excellent opportunity. If my memory serves me correct, this was someone in your network who you hadn't engaged with, who was in education or something crazy, worked at a college, and he just happened to know this other firm that you got placed at. That first hire at the SVP level, significant increase for you to my knowledge. It's crazy how things work out, right?
Well, I was doing what you told us to do, which is go back to everybody you've worked with in the last 10 years, re-engage with them and ask them questions that aren't, hey, can you find me a job?
Exactly.
I think the question I asked him is, what kind of consulting firms are you working with right now at the University at Buffalo? And then the follow-up was, do they have communications? And he said, well, no, but I don't think so, but I'm meeting with the COO tomorrow. I'll ask her if they have a strategic communications division. And he had the conversation and he got back in touch with me and said that they were looking to create a strategic communications division and she was going to reach out to me. And I was like, holy mackerel, Tim is so right. This is something that would never have happened otherwise.
Yeah, it's really nice when a lot of people don't know how to manage their own network. A lot of people don't know how to ask for help because they're stubborn. And the ones that do ask sometimes just say, hey, do you know someone who's hiring? Do you know someone who's hiring? And most of the time they say no. So what do you think for you did you find most valuable while working together?
I had gone on job interviews, 3 different organizations, and I was always like the second person, right? I was always just this close to getting the job. And I think what really helped me was the interview prep process, videos, of course, sending the job description to your coaches and getting that real time, an hour to sit down and go through it. I felt more confident. I knew how to answer the tough questions, the sticky ones you don't want to have to answer sometimes. I think it made all the difference. I had someone who was a reference for me call me and say, hey, I just talked to BWF, and they told me that you sailed through the interview process. Sailed.
Yeah.
It's hard to sail through an interview process at the senior vice president level.
Absolutely. Especially the first one they brought on, especially when they're creating another division.
Right.
So absolutely. Yeah. Knowing how to handle this and the videos and all of the different stuff, these interviews can get pretty complex. There's a lot of pitfalls. And, at the SVP level, we both know if you don't handle one of those difficult interview questions properly, if you don't present yourself like a true leader or consultant, if you don't do all of the things that we talk about, you might not convert that into an offer.
And I had to talk to 6 different people on Zoom interviews all over the country.
Absolutely. And, each of those are different. We're going to approach that a different way. You might be talking to this person who knows what their thoughts or ideas are on this position. And then you talk to all these different people, like it can be pretty complex and pretty difficult.
It is.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful for the training and the coaching and the help.
I'm truly glad everything worked out for you. What advice would you have, Jay, if someone is considering working with us?
First piece of advice is to go ahead and do it. The level that you place people, vice president level, director, senior VP, the jobs are not posted. They don't exist on the internet. You're not going to be able to apply for one. And if you do, You're either one of 1,000 people applying for it, or they've already got somebody in mind. In my case, is the job didn't exist. It was created for me because they met with me, because I went through your program. I mean, I think all of it is important. I think the resume reconstruction, the LinkedIn, understanding how to use LinkedIn to your advantage, how to communicate. You just have such a big, robust program that anybody going into it that feels a little at sea or a little lost, maybe it's been a long time since they've had to apply for a job because they've always just gotten jobs. It's a great setup for people who are in that position.
Almost everyone's lost when they begin working with us. You are probably going to be lost a little bit, but fortunately you were attending the coaching clinics. I hope people are lost when they start, because there's really so much valuable stuff that we can teach you. And I wish we could just take a USB and just plug you in and download all the information. Unfortunately, we're not to that now, you know? So there was a lot of stuff to learn. There's a lot of interview prep sessions, but at the end, now you got a position that you got to create with their help, developing it. Good increase, the company's going places. So absolutely worth all that hard work.
And the last thing I'll say to your potential new client is the thing that you don't understand that you're going to be doing is you're going to be joining a community of people who are in the same boat you are. And you'll have a support system like you've never had before during your job search. And that was also just a real critical piece for me.
Yeah. A lot of times when you're doing it on your own, you're lost and you think it's like because of your background or because of the market. And I assure you, it's just because of what you're doing. And why I like the group atmosphere in the program is the good thing about in the program, there's almost always someone who's more successful than you. And it's nice to be able to see someone more successful than you saying, you know, I'm preparing for this interview and I'm doing all this stuff. And you're like, hey, I'm feeling the same way. And they're going after these positions. So it's just a good positive environment to be around. Absolutely. Jay, thanks for sharing your experience. And I wish you the best of luck in your new position and absolutely keep in touch.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate all you did.